India is a value-driven country, and some of the biggest tech brands that have enjoyed a lot of success in the country are the ones who reign in the affordable segment. Now, when it comes to wearables, Amazfit has time and again hit the nail on the head with its VFM offerings. I recently reviewed the Bip S from the company, and this watch got a very solid recommendation from me. Can then the company's all-new Bip S Lite do the same? Well, let's find out in this review. But guys, before we get on with the video, make sure to hit the bell icon and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, so that you don't miss out on any quality tech content that we put out. Now that you've done that, let's get on with the full review of the Amazfit Bip S Lite. So do you know that Amazfit has stuck to the same design ethos since 2017? Yeah, that's 3 years, and it's a very long time to stay to a same design language, but hey, if it ain't broke, am I right? So yeah, design-wise, the Bip S Lite is indistinguishable from the Bip S I reviewed a while ago. In fact, barring the slight difference in the color, you'll be hard-pressed to tell one from the other. Heck, I've used both of these watches extensively and I still confuse one from the other at times. I mean, you're looking at the design shots right now on your screen, and tell me honestly, can you actually tell the difference between the two wearables? No, right? Well, thankfully, you do get the Bip S Lite in two completely different hues which aren't available for the Bip S, namely Oxford Blue and Sakura Pink. So if you really want your wearable to stand out, you can do that. Also, to Amazfit's credit, the company's watches are always superbly comfortable to wear, and at just 31 grams, the Bip S Lite is surely going to give you the wear it and forget it feel. Adding to the comfort factor are these quick release wristbands which you get with the watch, and they are quite plush and employ a soft rubberized finish which didn't itch my wrist after prolonged usage either. Even the clasp, which snaps the straps shut, comes with chamfered edges so it won't bite into your wrist all that much. Pull all these things together and the Bip S Lite is, much like its predecessor, a very comfortable watch to wear during workouts and even to bed to monitor your sleep cycle. The only downside of the watch's design that I can think of is that I kept pressing the physical crown whenever my wrist was at an angle, so when I was doing push-ups, etc. The crown in itself has rounded off edges, so while it wasn't uncomfortable and it wasn't biting into my wrist, it did get a little annoying. Now, before I wrap up the design section, you should know that the wearable is waterproof up to 5 ATM, so you can go for a swim without worrying about damaging it. There's a protective layer of Corning's Gorilla Glass version 3 on the screen too, which should prevent scuffs and dings to a certain degree, and don't worry, there's support for continuous heart rate monitoring as well, and you'll find the heart rate monitor on the underside of the Bip S Lite. So the Bip S Lite draws a lot of parallels to the Bip S in the display department too, and much like the Bip S, this watch also comes with a transflective color display. Now the display measures in at 1.28 inches and it offers a screen resolution of 176 by 176 pixels. Also, much like the Bip S, you will notice that the Bip S Lite also comes with chunky bezels surrounding the display. So the question you might be wondering is, how good is the display for day-to-day usage? Well, let me break it down in 3 sections. Firstly, if I just talk about the quality of the screen, then here, the Bip S Lite has, in my opinion, knocked the ball out of the ballpark. The screen is a godsend for anyone who travels a lot, as the transflective display tech ensures excellent legibility even under harsh sunlight. You can comfortably use the watch indoors too, since the panel is backlit and the watch even offers an always-on display, so you can check the time at a glance. Secondly, you might be wondering if the display is a little dull. In all honesty, it is, especially if you compare it to the color LCD screen of the Realme watch or the Super AMOLED display of the now discounted Amazfit Verge Lite. But like I said when I reviewed the Bip S, the transflective displays of these two watches, it trades visual fidelity for functionality, and I can guarantee that this watch is going to last much longer when compared to any other wearable in the same price segment. Thirdly, I want to talk about the bezel situation, and here I must admit, Amazfit should just get on with the times. It's 2020 and I really would have liked to see the company increase the size of the display by reducing the bezels bordering it. Thankfully, the touch response of the screen is fantastic and the display never failed to register my swipes. Speaking of which, the Bip S Lite is also running Amazfit's proprietary OS and it has been optimized really well. The UI transitions are rendered fluidly and there is rarely any delay or lag when switching to an app or an in-watch function. It goes without saying that you cannot load any third-party apps on the watch itself, and while there is no built-in storage to store your songs, you can control the music on your phone through the Bip S Lite, as it comes with Bluetooth music playback controls. So other than that, you can set alarms on the watch, but you will have to use your phone, or should I say the companion app, to actually change the time, and you can also receive push notifications as well as notification alerts for incoming calls. Disappointingly, you cannot revert to set notifications through the watch's interface, and since there is no built-in mic here either, you will have to use your phone for calls too. But given the wearable's price point, I'm really not going to dock points for these omissions. Moving on, in order to access some of the aforementioned features, you will need to use the Bip S Lite's companion Amazfit app, which is available for both Android and iPhones. Now, I've covered the app in entirety in my review of the Bip S, so do watch that if you'd like to know more about the app's interface. But the TLDR is as follows. The app offers a neat interface and lets you switch your daily targets or goals very easily. It also lets you cherry pick which apps are allowed to send notifications over to your wrist, and if you want to enable or disable idle alerts, then you can do so through the app as well. Lastly, you'll have to use the app to monitor your sleep cycle, or if you want to select one of the 50 different watch faces to stylize the Bip S Lite. Now, the biggest difference between the Bip S and the Bip S Lite is that unlike this watch, this one does not come with a built-in GPS and it also cannot track your swims. So if you want those two features specifically, then I would say spend a little extra and get yourself the Bip S. Other than that though, the Bip S Lite is exactly the same as the Bip S when it comes to tracking fitness, and that is a very good thing. See, unlike a lot of budget wearables that I've tested, both the Bip S as well as the Bip S Lite tracked my steps with a lot of accuracy, and the margin of error was as little as 1 or 2 steps. As an added bonus, the wearable didn't track ghost steps either, and the results from heart rate monitoring was to my satisfaction too. I even tested the results with much more expensive wearables in the form of the Versa 2 and the Stratus 3, and the Bip S Lite would always show a similar reading. I was just as impressed with the wearable sleep tracking too, and while the watch doesn't track REM sleep, it gave me extremely accurate insights into the total hours I'd slept and broke down my sleep cycle into deep and light sleep. As for the other metrics, the lock watched onto my phone's GPS in less than a second. However, I noticed that I had to set location permissions to always allow, as the watch would just not connect to GPS if the permissions were set to only when in use. That's quite strange, and I hope Amazfit fixes that soon. Other than that though, the watch gave me accurate insights into my cycling routine too and tracked metrics like the distance traveled very precisely, so no complaints here either. Now, Amazfit's wearables have always excelled in the battery department, and I can say that the Bip S Lite is also no exception to this rule. Now, I've been using this watch for around 5 days, and I can tell you that even with the notifications enabled and the always on display enabled, I'm nowhere close to draining this watch. It might not live up to the company's advertised 30-day mark, but I'm positive that I will be able to get at least 2 weeks of usage before the watch is completely drained. So yeah, battery life is excellent on the Bip S Lite. As for charging, the wearable makes use of a proprietary 2-pin pogo charger and takes around 2 hours to refuel completely. So, for its asking price of Rs 3,799, should you buy the Amazfit Bip S Lite? Well, let's see what are the things that this watch does right. So, a comfortable, albeit dated design? Check. A functional display that is excellent for outdoor usage? Check. Excellent battery life? Check. Lag-free UI and good fitness tracking capabilities? Double check. So obviously the Bip S Lite is worth it, but if you are in the market for an affordable fitness tracker and you can make do with one that does not necessarily look like a watch, then you might also want to look at the competition, especially the Mi Band 4, which is still a very solid fitness tracker. Also, if you want SpO2 monitoring and a fancier looking display, then you might want to take a look at the Realme Watch 2. Now between these two, if you ask me, then I would pick the Amazfit Bip S Lite, and that's primarily because I am a big fan of transflective displays because they are excellent for outdoor usage, and at the same time the battery life on the Bip S Lite is just unbeatable. So yeah. But guys, that wraps up this full review of the Amazfit Bip S Lite from my end. Do let me know in the comments below which fitness tracker would you buy if you had around 4,000 rupees to spend. Would you get the Bip S Lite, the Mi Band 4 or the Realme Watch? And as always, if you enjoyed this video, do give us a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. Until next time, this is Prateek from Mr. Phone signing off.